and welcome to another edition of the Take One Spoilercast. And of course, as you've seen the title, I'm going to be talking about The Gifted, episode 5, entitled boXed In. And so, I'm going to get right into it. But first, before I even just go any further with it, I feel like I have to, emphasize this. This is called a spoiler cast. So if you're listening to this and you don't watch The Gifted, or you're planning on watching it, you haven't seen it yet, or whatever, just know that this is a spoiler, I guess you could say, review, or it's just based on my spoiler thoughts of it. It's not a review. I'm going to get my review after the season is over. I'm going to have an overall review of the show and all that stuff. So these are just episode spoiler thoughts. So I will be talking about key plot points and certain things that happen up in the episode that will be spoilers. I ain't gonna say be considered as spoilers, but they are spoilers because this is a spoiler-ish thought, spoiler review, however you want to look at it. It's a spoiler cast. So if you listen to it, you haven't seen it yet, don't listen to this. If you have, go ahead and continue. If you haven't and you don't care to hear about my thoughts, just continue listening. I thank you. But yeah, I'm gonna get into this. I don't know if this is gonna be long. That's what she said. But she didn't say that about me. But in any case, I'm gonna just talk a little bit more on it. So, this movie goes deep in depth into more of, I guess you could say, it's Agent Turner centric, because it starts off with a look back of how his daughter died. Now, some type of event happened where it basically explains as the episode goes along, that he was out in the park with his wife and his daughter and stuff like that, and I guess a protest was happening with mutants and stuff, and it ended up getting out of hand. And so from that point on, you see something happening. I guess a mutant power got out of control and ended up killing a bunch of people and a bunch of mutants, and his daughter was part of the casualty, which given is the reason why he is so determined to take down mutants. And so he basically just don't have no care for him, which is understandable, whatever. So we get to see that flavor in it. After that, it shows basically Eclipse. I'm gonna get their actual character names, but if you watch the show, you know who I'm talking about. So Eclipse and Polaris, they show off their powers and stuff, and they show that they have that connection, because when they touch, it's like an aurora that happens around their not their genitals, but probably around there, but around their hands and stuff like that, because of just their power and how the chemistry of their power. And I'm not even gonna try and get scientific on it, but something happens and it shows like a mini aurora. But I love how they use their powers with certain stuff, because they're getting chased. We're not even gonna chase, but followed by a drone. And what happens is that Polaris, she uses her power to take the windshield. Well, she takes the rearview mirror off, and she puts it out on the outside to where Eclipse can see it above them. And so he uses his power to basically bounce off of the mirror and shoot down the freaking drone or whatnot. And I like it. And so this is a moment where it was actually pretty cool, because it shows their relationship and where they are with each other. And it was actually pretty touching. Not to get too sentimental, but it was actually pretty touching. I like it. And so at spur of the moment, Polaris they end up in a situation where they end up meeting up with Agent Turner, and Polaris takes it upon herself to kidnap him, to try and get information because of the mutant that they a mutant that they were with, or that was with them a good little minute ago, called Pulse, who was up in the previous episode where he was holding their powers or stopping them from using their powers. And so they're trying to figure out, how is he working for them, when last time they saw them, they were hunting them down. They thought that Pulse died, but now he's working for them. So they're trying to find information on, how is this possible? And so they're basically just trying to get information out of him, just going back and forth. And so they end up bringing Dreamer into it to get information out of it. And so at this point, it shows the dangers of Dreamer's powers, of what she can do and why she do it. And it does come to a head in this episode, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. But it shows the danger of her power. You would think that someone that can implant memories in you or take memories out or, just do this could, could eventually be a good power, but it has to be used in a certain way or else you can scramble somebody's brain, which, I don't know, like, to me, that's kind of like a drawback of power, which is kind of like more realistic, I guess you could say. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but, it's kind of like nothing good comes without a price in her case, You have this power. I mean, with any of the powers. If you think about the mutant universe, the X-Men universe and stuff like that, being a mutant automatically means that you're an outcast. Not everybody's going to like you. And just playing on the thing of what I mentioned before, of anybody that knows it, if you're listening to this and you don't know about X-Men and stuff, and you haven't heard me say it or heard anything about it, but yeah, Professor X and Magneto are both based off of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, because if you look at it, they're parallels. You get Professor X, even though the names is the X, whatever is on the wrong type of character, I know, because Martin Luther King represents, or not represents, but Professor Xavier, he represents Martin Luther King. He's basically the Martin Luther King of like this universe, and Magneto is basically the Malcolm X, but Malcolm X, Professor X, they're kind of opposite. But in any case, being a mutant is kind of like, at the time when they came out with this, it's like being black. If you're black, you're outcast. You're looked down by a lot of white people. By a lot of races, and that's basically how mutants are. If you're discovered that you're a mutant, people gonna look at you like, I don't want to be around you. Like, oh, you're a mutant, this and that. They're not gonna like you. They're gonna be walking on eggshells around you. And that's what it was. So just being a mutant is hard enough, but having the power to where you can work wonders, you can do things, you can do good things with it. But if not used right, you can do bad things with it. You can mess up somebody's mind. And it really touches on that. I mean, it touches on that throughout the other few episodes, but this one, it really kind of like plays a major part because of stuff that I'm going to, get to later. But one of the questions I'm going to ask that's relating to like Polaris power is that I see that she can control metal. At first I thought it was just telekinesis where she can lift up anything, but it's just metal. So she basically has really kind of like the power of Magneto. So so like, yeah, she can control metal. If she can control metal, why are they still using metal bullets, metal guns and stuff like that? Wouldn't you think that with them being like the Sentinel services, that they have all this special tech, wouldn't you think that they would use some type of tech that isn't metal, something that she can control, something that they can use to like basically kill them? Because they did up in the X-Men movie where they had guns that was shooting out bullets or tranquilizers that Magneto couldn't stop because they wasn't metal. It's like, I don't know, like, why aren't they doing that? They seem smart. They brought out the spider things. I don't know why they haven't used them again yet. But, I mean, probably to production costs of just the show. But in any case, like, it just doesn't make sense why they haven't used them yet. I thought that was going to be a consistent thing, but they haven't used them again. Whatever. But why are they still using metal bullets? That I don't understand. But in any case, that was just like a little something. Actually, that's not really little. It's kind of bigger than a little. It's kind of like medium. But in any case, so So we get to the compound, and there's a misunderstanding with Strucker and the guy who basically he tried to set up when he was like, when he was captured by the Sentinel group or whatever. And basically the guy, he doesn't like him because he tried to set him up and all that stuff, and so he doesn't trust him at all. And so Strucker is trying to gain his trust and all that stuff, and so he tries risking himself to whether they're, to basically to where they would be able to believe him and trust him and all that stuff. And so he goes out and he gets spotted throughout the cameras and stuff like that. And so they have this plan to set up to where he walks to a certain place, and at a certain place he meets up with the guy who doesn't trust him, and after that he goes from there. And so he couldn't find him for a good little minute after that. The police was called and it was like on his tail, and he ends up finding him, and he basically had the car invisible, camouflaged and stuff like that. And then he got him up in there. He asked him like, "What the hell?" And then the guy told him that like he wanted to see whose side he was on. So I mean, it's understandable. It's understandable. Shit. I mean, I get both sides. Do whatever. But yeah, I mean, it just shows that up in this episode that Strucker is really trying to get them to trust him, to show that he's on their side. And even at the end of the episode, he talks with his family and tells them that like he wants to stay to help them. And Danny, was that his name? No, Andy. Wow, I was about to go forward with that. But Andy, his son, he really wants to go to Mexico. Like I thought he was getting away. I thought we was like going, but Strucker and just the rest of his family is just like, we gotta stay and help. Like, this is what we gotta do. These people took us in. We're gonna help them out and all that stuff. And so now we got the Strucker family there helping out as well to try and get them out of this rut or whatever is going on with them, and just whatever. And then going to what I was alluding to earlier with Dreamer. Power coming to basically being a big thing in this episode, because in one of the episodes before we saw that she basically implanted a memory that Dreamer herself had with Johnny, which I just learned his name, which I don't know why, but which a memory that she had with Johnny, and implanted it in Blink. But instead of it being Dreamer, it was Blink kissing Johnny. So she had these feelings, and she did it for a reasonable thing. She did it to basically to have her control her powers to save Johnny and the rest of the people. That way, none of the other mutants would die. So you get, it was, I guess you could say, kind of like a bad thing done for the right reasons. But it is what it is. And so throughout last episode and this episode, you can see Blink just thinking like something don't add up. Like she doesn't remember a memory that she is having with Johnny. It just, certain things doesn't make sense, and she's starting to think. And when she got put in the portal, taken to Agent Turner to try and get information taken out of him, which I'm about to get to it. Which I ain't got too much to talk about more on this. But when Blink basically opened up a portal so they can come through, Dreamer used her power on Agent Turner to try and find out where he was. And that's when she realized that Dreamer used her powers. She probably used her powers to, implant something in her, and she just really didn't know why. And so after that, she confronts her and tells her, or asks her, like, did you do this? Did you give her a memory? And she ends up coming out and just telling her, like, and I get both sides, Of course, you're going to be pissed because you have feelings for somebody who don't have feelings for you. And you aren't, and it's something out of control, basically when I'm, it's out of your control. This is something that someone gave you, an emotion that someone gave you that you didn't just develop on your own. That you have feelings for somebody that is not going to love you back. So now you have to deal with that, and just having this memory that you can't get rid of, and it's just, it kind of puts it in a bad place. And so Dreamer just trying to tell her, like, mutants were gonna die. Johnny was gonna die. She needed to do something to where she can control her powers, to where she can get them up out of there. And so she went to drastic measures. She had to do drastic things, and that was one of the drastic things. And it comes to a head because I don't know if she can take that memory away from her. So now she's stuck with that memory, and I guess you could kind of see what the first episode was alluding to, or was it the second episode? I think it was the first episode, where Johnny was telling her not to do that to Blink in the first place because of the people that she done that to and how it messed them up. So we get kind of more of a look of, or a sense of, like, what it can do to people, as well as not only Blink, but because she didn't finish searching through Agent Turner's head, and she had to stop abruptly because they were throwing like tear gas inside of the building that they was holding Agent Turner at. So he was stuck there being tormented by his thoughts. And when they finally got him sane, they took away the memory of his daughter, of being there when his daughter died and stuff like that. And he goes home to his wife, and he just doesn't remember that his daughter is dead, that's been dead for a few years now. And it tears him apart. So I think this is going to give him more motivation to really take down the mutant underground, as well as his wife mad at the fact that they messed with his head, that they took that away from him, that she has to relive that sorrow that he has of, like, the death of his daughter, and just know that, like, the mutants did something to him that was bad. So now it's all wrong, it's all just thrown in a disarray, and it's exciting. I want to see where they go further with this. I haven't been blown away by this show, but I am enjoying it. It had me from the first episode. Like I've said it before, I had this 3-episode rule. If I see a new show, I'm gonna watch it for 3 episodes. If I don't get caught up, or if I don't not get caught up, but if it doesn't catch me by the 3rd episode, I stop watching it. So, and this has caught me by the first episode, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and all that stuff. So I'm gonna continue watching it. Hopefully, it gets way better by the end of the show. But yeah, that was the episode. I don't think there's anything else I need to touch on. And I think that's done. I made it in good time or whatever. It wasn't too long of an episode. Or, too long of a spoiler cast. So, yeah, I'm just going ahead and end it right there. Thank you guys for listening. And join again this week, since this is late being put up. So join me later on this week for episode 5, I believe. Yeah, I believe it's episode 5. Where my notes at? Crazy. Yeah, this is episode 5, boxing. So join me for episode 6 that's coming on tonight. And go ahead and hit that thumbs up, and subscribe, and turn your notifications so that you'll be notified for anything that drops on my channel. And I think that's about it. Check out everything else. Everything else is in the description below. Check out everything else that my channel has to offer, and I will catch you guys on the next Gifted Spoilercast, episode 6. Peace.